And it must be so. Welcome. Whoa, that's a little loud. Welcome to the Radio Misfits. Hi, James. It's me, Pugs. It's James.
Hey, that's me.
It is. Sorry, I got my levels all bad. My levels are all bad. They're a little bit loud. Hi, Byron. Hi, Al. Hi, Barney. Come one, come all. Join us in the chat room. It's open every night at this time, 9 p.m., Monday through Thursday. Grab your beanbag chairs, your yoga mats, your photons. Form the soul circle of life. Join hands and let us move forward within the next hour into an enlightenment and optimism. James, what say you, young man?
I'm down with enlightenment and optimism.
Okay, very good. I don't think I said anything that required pushback. I think all of those things were just decent options. So thank you for not pushing back on optimism or enlightenment. Who wouldn't want that? Hey, I don't know where he is. He is supposed to be joining us. He is the third nightly, Monday through Friday. Myself, Pugs Moran. Hi, nice to meet you.
Well, I have a hard time believing that because he's so reliable and prompt.
Well, he is pretty reliable. I mean, he does show up every day, drags us into the... I was describing what we have. I'm going to pull the curtain. I don't want to turn this into a technical workshop. I'm going to pull the curtain for you a little. I'm going to divulge a little bit of inside radio. What we have here, what we've created, James and I, is what's known as unbalanced chemistry. That's when there are three people in the room as opposed to just two. The third person in an unbalanced chemistry type situation tends to be the ball of yarn. And by that, I mean, I'm a kitten, you're a kitten. He's a ball of yarn. We've just been knocking him around the last couple of days. We've just been playing with him. I mean, it's like he says things that we know we should ignore, but then we're tempted like the kitten with the ball of yarn. We just want to knock it. Okay, let's go there. Why not? You know what I mean? And that's sort of the dynamic. So I think I'm going to miss him when he's not there to just, play with.
What, to say something indefensible and then...
Okay. Yeah. There is that. There is.
Yeah, let's go back and dwell on that. Now that you've said something indefensible, let's go play with that.
Yeah, no, we don't need to do that. But what we do need to do is we need to pick up where we left off last night. Last night, we were talking about we have big news in the submarine. You following the submarine stuff today? Sorry. Oh, boy. James, are you up to speed on the submarine comings and goings?
Yeah, they found pieces of it around the Titanic early this morning. It's presumed that everyone was dead, and they have been dead for some time, and it was probably a quick and possibly painless death because it would happen so fast. Well, like once you break pressure, you would just like a wad of paper, right? Just
instantaneous.
Yeah,
like the deaths are instantaneous. That's good. We're now hearing that the deaths probably occurred like right around the time that they went missing. They were out for about an hour and 45 minutes when we're all learning this now. Like nobody said this 24, 48 hours ago when we were all like, they might be still alive. But now all of a sudden that the announcement's been made that they're dead. Now we're getting, well, when we lost contact with them, we heard what sounded like an implosion. That's what they're calling it. They were calling it an implosion. I'm like, well, then you just ruined our week. Did they ruin our week or did they make our week? I don't know. It was a nice distraction, I suppose.
Yeah. So does this mean that? Watch. Here's my concern. This is going to make this more popular because there's a lot of people out there who hear dumb ideas and think, oh, that sounds crazy. I'll try that. Like these dudes who do like the wingsuits.
Yeah.
These are the dumbest people alive because I know we've all seen the videos, but those guys die.
Yeah, they're idiots. Yeah.
On a regular clip. But at some point in their life, they had to see someone else do something stupid first. They didn't think of this. They didn't all invent the wingsuit, right? No. And so I'm kind of the position of, the less light we shine on this, the less idiots are going to Darwin themselves out of the population. And I think there's going to be a lot of Darwin contestants follow suit now that they've seen this.
Well, I can't tell you how happy I am to hear you say that because that has been one of the things that I've been thinking about now for about a couple of days. I'm like, is this going to create a boon in the Titanic underwater tourism industry, or is this, oh, that's over, nobody's going? And I think I'm with you, James. I think there are a whole lot of idiots who now know that this is an option which means they're now going to ask, can we go in a submarine? I mean, I don't think this scares anybody at all.
No, but look, the good part is society needs these people. Society needs someone to go on the Oregon Trail. It's not going to be my soft ass, but someone has to go out there and put their neck on the line and do these amazingly dangerous things. And so then some early adopters can come in behind them and figure out a little bit more to make it safe. And then I don't know if there's ever a place in the world for us to go down and check out the Titanic. But, these people are pushing science forward, and their death, people are going to learn from this.
That doesn't sound interesting to me at all. I mean, do you know the shit that we would have had to have already run through on my bucket list before we get to even the option of looking at the Titanic? I mean, there's just so many other things that are, and here's the real sad thing that's emerging today is the family of the father and the son, the 48-year-old father and the 19-year-old son who perished on board the submarine. We're starting to learn more and more about them. For instance, an aunt is talking now about the trip and how the family had been planning for the trip. And the aunt is saying that the kid didn't want to go. The kid absolutely didn't want to go. The kid had concerns. He tried to get out of going, but his dad got really mad at him. And then he just decided, ultimately, the kid was like, you know what? My dad is like a Titanic freak. Like his dad is like a Titanic hobbyist. So this is like a lifelong dream for his dad. So the 19-year-old kid was like, all right, I'll suck it up and I'll go. Oh, man. I mean, can you believe that? And there's a question in the chat room here from Leslie saying, have you seen the interviews with James Cameron today? Yeah, I've seen a number of the interviews with James Cameron today, but also last night.
Doesn't he own a submarine or something? Like he owns one, doesn't he?
He doesn't know. He doesn't own a submarine. He owns like 8 of the 9 that are actually certified to do this. He owns a submarine company, like a deep sea research company.
Right. Because he was part of that Richard Branson project when he made the underwater space capsule, like he was in freaking Octonauts or something.
Well, he got into all of this stuff when he was making Titanic, and he spent 10 years before Titanic came. 10 years before the movie came out, he was in a submarine under the water trying to figure out how to make. So, dude, we want to be dismissive because he's a stupid Hollywood director, but dude seriously knows a lot about this stuff. I mean, like he's been down there a million times. He is saying now. Also, fun fact. Damn thing, this story resolved itself. I wrote a parody song. I wrote like a parody song based on something that I heard James Cameron say last night about this submarine. He called it a demo submarine. He said that not only was it not certified, but nobody would consider it ready for duty. That it was considered a demo submarine because it was so different. It was a
So let me guess, we all live in a demo submarine.
Okay. Do you need me to perform it? I can. Me? You want me to do? Get out of here. But yeah, I only got the first verse down anyway. But it ended, and now it's over. And I'm like, so much for my creativity. But James Cameron was saying how, he was familiar with the sub. He knew the sub. He looked at the sub. He knew these people because it's a very, as you would imagine, very tight community of people who have submarines that go down around and root around the Titanic.
Right, the private submarine community.
They all know each other, right? And he's like,
yeah,
I'm familiar with these guys. I'm familiar with that submarine. And he's like, I never thought it was seaworthy. And now I feel bad that I didn't speak out publicly. But at the time, I felt like, maybe I shouldn't say anything because I carry a lot of weight because of who I am and I don't want to embarrass them. But yeah, James Cameron was saying, I always knew that thing wasn't going to make it. I don't know why they're selling tourist tickets on it.
So how many trips did this thing make before it cracked? 35?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much it was used, but I know.
I can't blame anybody who gets on a submarine that's already done 34 trips.
Yeah, I can. Oh, I absolutely can. Yeah, that's like saying, you jump out of an airplane and your parachute doesn't open and you're like, it's totally fine because people jump out of airplanes all the time and they don't have that problem. No, it's you look at the risk and you think, is it possible? Yes, it is possible. Yes. Therefore, I don't need to expose myself to it. I don't care that 35 people were successful.
Right, but it's less. Yeah, it's less ridiculous than if it was this first trip down there and it cracked like a Coke can.
Oh, yeah. Oh, here, James, look at this. Let me show you something. All right, let's watch this. I found this online today because I'm like, what happens when a ship implodes? Watch this. This is I think it's like a United States Navy kind of thing. Hold on. Let's see here.
You gonna show me what the implosion looks like?
No, they're going to break down exactly what happens when a ship implodes. You know what? No, I don't have it. And I don't want to spend that much time on this subject anyway, because we've done. But it is, it's pretty. Yeah. It's rough. You're basically, your entire body collapses. You saw the way it was described is you die multiple deaths in the fraction of a second. Hi.
Hey,
Hey.
did you forget to send me a link?
No, I didn't. Oh my God, that is me. Oh my God, I am so sorry. Yes, I did. All right, coming your way right now. I didn't hit send. I'm hitting send right now. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. Oh my God, what an a-hole. I totally forgot to send him a link. That was on me.
And then we made fun of him.
Yeah, that was, we don't need
All right,
to
we're
tell him.
dick. We're both. You're more of a dick, but I'm
No, you're not a dick at all. You
I made fun of him for not being prompt.
Yeah, but it was my fault. All right, he should join us now any minute. Yeah, so they said you die multiple deaths instantaneously. Like, so there was no suffering or anything like that. Like, for instance, you drowned instantly. I mean, but before that, the decompression, what it does is it basically will also decompress your lungs and your nasal cavity in like the matter of a fraction of a second. So within a fraction of a second, like no more air. There's nowhere to go. You have no lungs. You have no way to take it in. So that's happening to you. And then your bones shatter inside your body from the pressure, the immense pressure. They say that something like what you're used to when you're down there traveling safely is 14, like a 14 PSI, right? When the hull breaches in the blink of an eye, it goes from 14 PSI, which is fine for your body, to over 8,000 PSI in like the blink of a second in your whole, I mean, so look.
No, there's no suffering.
No, there is no suffering. You die your brain. That's the other thing they said. Oh, your brain is gone too instantly. Your brain just completely like a balloon. It pops. It just completely goes, shrivels up like a raisin or whatever. You die multiple fatal. You have multiple fatal injuries all at once in the blink of an eye. So there is, I mean, you're not. And then your fish food. If it cracks open and you end up floating around or whatever, then you get eaten by a dolphin and life goes on. Now, where's E? I just where is right? He should have connected by now.
All right, I reinstate my prompt insult.
Okay. There we go. The beautiful showcase. Boy, that's loud. All right, there he comes. That was my fault. I'm so sorry. I had the window open and I'm like, what? I sent it up, and I did not hit send today for some reason. I know why. I got distracted. E's here. So we're wrapping up our conversation on the submarine. James and I just had a nice little conversation on it. What do you know? What are you seeing? What are your thoughts? You got anything you want to wrap up with it?
James?
No, James is already gone. So we're either moving on, or you're going to give us your take on the submarine story.
I think it's unfortunate. I think you do things a certain way for a reason. Obviously, this company bypassed, a lot of the ways to make this sub safe for long distance.
Yeah, you got the guy who's dead. The guy who's, it was in the submarine. Got him on tape on video going viral right now, talking about how safety's for pussies. Basically talking about getting out of bed in the morning is dangerous. And that, there are certain safety precautions, but you can't just completely eliminate the adventure by, going crazy with the safety. He's on tape saying that.
Yeah, I'm not getting in that dude's sub.
No.
Well, and he's not getting his sub anymore either. So that's it's unfortunate. I kind of felt it in the initial press conference. I thought, well, it just doesn't seem like, even if they got there, okay, like today when we heard there was debris, right? By the time they got on the floor, they got the equipment to where it was, even close, okay, so you're diving for the wreck of the Titanic. Your search place immediately is going to be the wreck of the Titanic in the water column where this particular submersible went down and where they find it. Exactly where you would think it would be if something happened as it was going down. So reality of it was they were dead if they were not up at that press conference. No chance of saving them. By the time they got there and we heard the thing about debris, it's still another 8 hours for them to get them up.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's this is one of those news porn stories that at the end of the year, when we think back on the crazy year that it was, we'll be like, remember the spy balloons? Oh yeah, we were crazy for spy balloons for a week, and then there'll be another one. Remember the submarine guys that went missing? And we're like, yeah, I remember that. We were crazy about that for a week. So there are plenty more of these little news porn distractions that are going to happen over the next few months. I look forward to them and I welcome them. But here's something that I got a little bit irked by today, watching old Caitlin Collins on CNN, who is just absolutely awful. God, is she the worst? Okay. Does anybody believe that when speaking to somebody, a maritime scientist, she was speaking to some maritime scientist, does anybody believe that Caitlin Collins is really upset about this? Like, this is really a story that she's taking very serious. What am I looking for, James? It's like, it's like
over emotes.
Yeah, she over emotes for effect, though. It's performative and it's so transparent. And it's almost like you're expecting her at 8 minutes ago. Yes, it truly is a tragedy. In other news, the NBA draft is tonight. You know what I mean? It's like that kind of thing. And I just I'm like, none of you people freaking care about this. You know why? Because none of us care. Everybody who is acting like, oh, those poor people, that's performative. We don't know these people. We aren't next in line. These aren't relatives of ours. People die all the time. This was just a television show that we watched for the last 72 hours, James.
So when I see them being, go ahead, Emil.
Well, I was just going to say, I do see something here that I think needs to be changed in the future. I don't think you should be able to put one of these things down if you don't have something that can rescue it immediately above it.
Let them
if you don't have something that can pull that thing back up, then you should not be able to put it down there, because you're wasting taxpayer money sending us out there to retrieve this off of the bottom. What is the ultimate cost of
$120 million? $120 million
to find these 5 people, because some company had to make $250 a pop times 4. I mean, that's the regulation that's
that
out
number's
of whack.
Already circulating. Estimated at $120 million of taxpayer funds were wasted on these people.
Yeah. Well, so you should at least have another one of a replica or whatever the hell you put down there that has the ability to drag that up, or you shouldn't be able to put it down there. Or basically don't call us and tell us that somebody's stuck down there.
That's the solution. Is we are not in the sub salvaging business. The American taxpayers, not the world's salvaging sub. And why should we go salvage it anyway? Because it's our dumb citizens, or 3 of them were our dumb citizens, 2 of them were Packies, right?
They're from Canada. They took off from
Canada. They're not even American. Let the Canadians go scrape them up then.
Exactly. This is a Canadians' problem.
Yeah, and if taxpayers are going to fund this, I would like to send the bill to the Pakistanis, the Canadians, and maybe we'll split it. We'll go Dutch on picking up our garbage from the bottom. Well, no, but look, even if you had another sub or another thing that was above it, these people would have died. This thing crushed like a Dr. Pepper can instantly. They were dead. Whatever regulation you put on top of that, it isn't going to save anybody's life. Oh, you could pull them up immediately. Oh, okay, well, we could have got their carcasses faster. So it's not going to save anybody's life. If you're worried about the cost of the taxpayers, then don't go pick it up.
How about if you're the billionaire who can afford $250,000 for a seat? How about you just tack on, the price of that? To have a boat with a crane that you're already paying for. These fucking billionaires are going out there, and then we're spending all of our school lunch money on finding them in the bottom of the ocean because they got some crazy bucket list item they want to check off.
There's so much for me to unpack here, and I could go back into conversations we had the other night. Like the reference of Packies to me seems no different than if somebody were to say the J word.
Jewish or Jew.
That's one. That's one.
By the way, you can refer to
Two,
them as Jews. I just don't think it's appropriate to refer to them as Jew music, which is what you how
fine.
you used it. You James, not James. He used it as Jew music. That's
Right. So
it
he
is
Jew
for
can be
short.
an adjective. It's just rough.
Yeah. And Packy's
Okay.
I don't know I don't know the slang Packy. I mean I do I've heard it, but I don't know if it's a I don't
Well,
know.
well, I don't know, but it sounds like
okay,
just
so
a short way of saying it.
Pakistani is a nationality. Pakistan is the country. Paki is the ethnicity that is the majority tribe of the nation of Pakistan. Therefore, it's named
James,
after them.
here's where I'm going to push back on you. I don't believe that's true. I think Packy is a derogative term that is thrust at them. I don't think it's what they call themselves. I don't think they call themselves Packy.
Oh, they definitely do.
Are you sure that's not something Indians say?
Well, you can't go by they definitely do as a clearing because the N-word they definitely do, and you still can't use
that's
that.
a good point. Well, I have heard them use it to refer to each other, and I also have an Indian friend who calls them Pakis.
Well, Indians hate them, so that's like my Nazi
No,
friend
he's a
calls
Muslim
them
Indian,
Jews.
so it's not like the Jammu Kashmir fight.
All right, here you go. Hold on. Wikipedia. Packy. Packy is a slur. Packy is a racist term which is typically directed towards people who are of Pakistani descent, though it has also been used against those of other South Asian descent, mainly coming from British slang. So back in colonial days, Packy was a negative that British soldiers, British colonists use.
Right, right. Because
Are we back to red
because
face
they would
Indian?
they would
Probably similar.
they would use that as a general term of anyone from the Desi South Asian ethnicity. So whether it was India or Bangladesh or Pakistan, they would call them all Pakis, and they would call this was like an England thing.
Yeah, they reject the people of Pakistan do not call themselves any version of Pakistan. Pakistan is the name that was given to them by the Western colonizers, so they don't love the name Pak anything.
Right. So they call themselves Urdu or Pashtun is what they call themselves in their own name, isn't it?
Yeah, it says the term Pak, blah, 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 comes from the British derogatory term, blah, blah. Yeah, Urdu, Pashto, or Persian is essentially how they like to refer to themselves. Urdu, Pashto, or Persian. But yeah, not Paki because they think that's a bad British thing. Hey, let's move on. We don't need to get derailed. E, what else were you saying?
Well, and so then the thought of like, okay, if you're out there and you're doing R&D, and that's part of the research and development because you haven't tested this thing that many times, well, you do need to have a second sub in order to be able to do R&D. And so that is in fact why they should have to have another one on top of the one that doesn't have approval.
Okay. Well, when you start your own research firm, that's how you can run things.
Yeah, that's how you would run your. But you probably
they've been doing it this way all.
Then don't call us.
That's the solution because they've been doing it this way your entire life, and there's never been a problem until these idiots did it. And so it's not that this is an inherently flawed system. We just had some guy get a little too loose, and in any human endeavor, you're going to come across human error like this, and that doesn't mean you should start putting on all these onerous rules and laws and restrictions on these people. If they want to go do crazy things, let them do crazy things. I can keep myself away from manic sub deaths.
Yeah.
Do you know the thing to me that made it appear the most obvious that this was just a rich man's peekaboo toy?
What?
Inside of that thing, there's nothing. There's like no computers like we're used to seeing, like in the Starship, whatever, or on the submarine. It's just like a shell with a window and a toilet, so you can look at something at 13,000 square feet. It's not doing any research of any significance
this is a viewing vessel. This is for tourists to be able to look out. That's the front of it is different than most others because it provides like a larger viewing thing. But you're absolutely right. This thing is basically, they said it's powered by what would be the equivalent technologically wise as like a remote control car. That's basically what it is. It's like a little, like a radio control.
I mean, it's like, it's nothing.
Yeah, no, it's not. James, did you have something you wanted to get into there?
Yeah, well, hang on. I have one more card I'd like to put down on this story, and that's the fact that I thought you were about to say this, Pugs, and then I thought you were about to say it, Emil. So I'm going to say it because I didn't think of it, but y'all just made me think of it. This guy's worth billions.
No, no.
Hundreds of millions.
Yeah, hundreds of millions. Yeah, he's not quite a billionaire. Forbes doesn't recognize him as a billionaire on their billionaire list. So that means he might be 7, 8. Hell, he might be 30 with really good PR,
Yeah. So for you
But
and
he's rich.
yeah, so for you and me, Pugs, $250,000 is just a non-starter. We're not paying that to go anywhere at any time for anything. For Emil, maybe if it was to the moon or something, he could cobble it together. But if you're worth $100 million or whatever he's worth, $250,000 really isn't that much.
Not much.
And if you're gonna go like 3.5 miles under the Atlantic Ocean, would you skimp on that? Like, I don't skimp on toilet paper, right? But this dude is skimping on going. What is it, 15,000 feet down or whatever the hell?
13, I think it was.
Wouldn't you look at that thing and be like, "Hey, can we like put a coat of Flex Seal or something on this? Like, is this right?"
I was surprised we didn't see him advertising today with the sub that he.
There was
it.
get this, James. Just I don't mean to burst your little theory there, but there was a story that was written today that talked about how this guy Hamish Harden, is that his name? Do I have it right? Hamish Harden, something like that. This so-called billionaire, how he became involved in this, and it doesn't even appear that he paid the $250,000. It appeared that he was fighting for free because they were trying to lure him to become an investor in this tourism company. The only paying customers were the two that paid. It was a $500,000 trip, because they sold the 2 seats to the other 2 customers for what? For $250,000 each. So the other 2 people on were the owner of Ocean Gate, the tour, and this billionaire guy that the owner was trying to get to become an investor in it, and the pilot. So it's like they brought 2 passengers just to see how this works with tourists. And so I don't even think he paid. I think he just got a free ride because they wanted him to invest.
So is the question, James, do you think they should have their money back?
No, that's not where anyone. No.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Well, we're talking about the revenue that they generated was $500,000. I just wondering if they were
who's going to give it back? The company's out of business. The owners, where's that money going to come from?
Well, the wife
you
is
can
there,
go
isn't she?
through the tub of goo at the bottom of the ocean.
No matter what, they shouldn't get their money back. No matter what. They took the risk. They knew this was a possibility. This is why hardly anybody has ever done it, because it's really dangerous, because it's not something that's a risk that they willingly took on and paid $250,000 for. No, right. I'm sorry. You don't get your money back.
It wouldn't be a thrill if it wasn't a risk.
That's right.
You can't outlaw stupidity. So just let these people kill themselves and we'll make memes about it from the distance.
So what about the Bills? What about the Bills?
They're not winning the AFC.
But let's just say they had value. They said that, say the movie rights, all this, whatever. Somehow it triples into lots of money for them somehow, right? So does the research and recovery bill get tagged on to them?
Who I love that idea. No. I know.
I'm not following. Who is that?
The ocean, the whoever has the estate of the company that just blew up, Ocean Gate. Yeah, the heirs of Ocean Gate. The heirs of Ocean Gate. Let's say there's a life after for Ocean Gate because people want to make a movie on this, and they get paid a bunch of rights, the dollars for that. Should those dollars be free and clear to the heirs of that estate, or should they have to pay for this $121 million search and
first
off,
I love the way you're thinking. The real world is no, that's not how it works. In your fantasy scenario, yeah, that's maybe how it should work. In my scenario, though, nobody even goes and picks anything up or even goes and puts any search and rescue crap going down until after they make the movie and they make the millions and they pay for it their damn selves. Like the taxpayers, unless there's some sort of national security thing, that there's no reason we should just go be picking up people's scrap in the bottom of the Atlantic.
Let me just stop you guys here for a second. You don't got to pay anybody for this movie. This movie played out in real time in public view. What do you need? Who are you going to talk to? Everybody you need to talk to that would know anything is dead. This movie is all going to be about going on the ground and interviewing people.
What if there's a
No,
black box?
Okay, then it'll be made public and that will become available through the Freedom of Information Act. You don't have to pay anybody for this story. We know what the story is.
Well, you don't have to, but Sully Sullenberger got paid for the A Miracle on the Hudson, and
'cause he's-
Captain Phillips got paid for Captain Phillips, and they don't have to participate, but they have.
And if someone had survived and they could have spoken and added some sort of depth to the overall story, then yeah, they'd have gotten paid. But no, there is no more information about what it was like in the submarine.
Okay, but when you're making the movie about this, you're not gonna make the movie about the 0.8 second implosion. You're gonna have to have the whole backstory, and that's where you're gonna need friends and family and cooperation and name rights, and you know, you got some old family photos and some home movies we could use. And can you?
You don't think they'll do that willingly? I mean, that's not something
you'll
you
get paid for it.
No, there's no story. There's no book. Now, you know, trust me, this is a public news story that we all saw and was played out. It'll be researched and written by a screenwriter, and they'll have to pay nobody. This is
Harold.
What if the banging that we heard? What if
Was
the
nothing.
banging that we heard was actually them, and they survived up until that? And there's a black box, and it documents their 30
but
hours
they've already said that
underneath.
the banging story was not true, that it was a ruse and that it wasn't anything and blah, blah, blah. But the media ran with it because imagine people trapped in banging. Oh, that kept us through the Lexus commercials. That made us stay tuned. No, it wasn't true. Yeah, they admitted that totally was not. They didn't admit that it wasn't true, but what they've admitted was yeah, I guess that was nothing. It's like, there you go. That was nothing. Because remember, we're now learning that they had a pretty solid certainty that they were all dead by mid-afternoon Sunday. They just didn't tell us. They just didn't tell us until they made the official.
Right.
They heard the implosion when they lost contact, and they lost contact before they otherwise should have. So, you know, they knew.
Yeah.
So my thought was this. Imagine, if you will, what those 5 bodies looked like.
I don't think you were there with us. You weren't here yet. No, we talked about what happened to the bodies. The bodies were gone. You're not going to see them. They completely evaporated. They were the lungs and the brain and the bones shattered inside, and then they split apart when the thing split apart and the water rushed in, and now they've been eaten by fish and other kinds of. But there is no.
Well, I was envisioning like a human skin pancake.
It would be pulverized though, because it's 8,000 pounds a square inch, and so that's like having my house fall on you.
So that was the example that I gave from a video.
But wouldn't it be just like everything, like your skin and your elasticity of your skin would just hold all your things, and you'd just be kind of like one wavy.
Right. But then when the capsule rips open, which it broke apart, then your whole body is torn apart, like in all different directions. So you're fish food. There's not like a torso. But check that out. So they were talking about what happens when the hull would have breached, when it would have decompressed suddenly. When you are just traveling along and everything is fine, you are experiencing 14 pounds per square inch of pressure. 14 pounds per square inch. When that thing ruptured, and in an instant, it went from 14 pounds per square inch against your human frame to over 8,000 pounds in the blink of an eye. They didn't suffer. They were gone instantly.
Done. Yeah.
It was like being in a tornado. You know what a tornado would do to a human body? You think you go spinning round and round? No, you don't. You are torn into a million pieces right away. All right.
Yeah. And scene.
James, what do you got?
I mean, I'm happy that was their ending.
Yes, that's the best possible ending.
If you got to get an ending,
it sounds like it happened
ending.
Quick, without warning. There was none of this, conserve your breathing, everybody panicking, none of that. It seems like it just came out of nowhere and they're dead. James?
All right, so me, you, Emil, Kay, Barney, Sam, Byron, Leslie, we're all going to jump in our own little submersible, and we're going to go way deep into the archives.
Okay.
How do you like that transition?
Oh, exciting.
Isn't that timely? All right. So what I have in this window is in the.
I think before we should go, people in prison need to go first.
What are you talking about?
I don't have any idea. James, just go. Just go. You know what? That gets a timeout.
Dude, he is an advertisement for his amazing weed, is what he's.
No, I need to know. What are you talking about? What does that even mean? What is that in reference to? What is that connect?
Well, if he's suggesting we go in a submersible as the next guinea pigs, I would say no. I think that prisoners should go.
It was a
before we
metaphor,
go.
dude.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay, I wasn't following, but now I get it. That was my bad. I was not following. James, take it.
Okay, so we're going to the submersible deep into the archives. And when YouTube started, I was working on the Pugs and Kelly show, and I'm cranking out all kinds of parody songs, and I'm thinking, you know what I'll do? I'll just start my own show, and I'll put it on YouTube. And, like me and Dell, we're going to film it, and we made like a couple of test episodes, and then I got a job hosting my own show in Oklahoma, and so we couldn't do the James show anymore, and you'll see why, because it was just too foul. But the appeal to me was when YouTube first came out, you could just upload whatever the hell. Like I remember at the beginning, like you could see porn on YouTube for a while there, but YouTube used to be the Wild West, and so when I would do things for the Pugs and Kelly show, you have to throttle some things back. You can't say the 7 magic words, and you can't describe all kinds of acts, and you can't really be yourself. You have to be a clean version of yourself, which isn't like disingenuous. It's, it's you around your grandmother, right? But YouTube gave me the little steam valve to let me do all my super vulgar stuff and have an outlet for that. And so all my clean, wholesome Pugs and Kelly stuff, relatively speaking,
That didn't get you fired more than 3 times.
I know, right? That makes it sound so bad when you say it like that. Okay, so you have to, as an artist, find out where your own boundaries are. Because if you just shed society's boundaries, which I did long ago, I'm not offended by cuss words or boobies or, sexual references or whatever. I don't want that around kids, and I'm not going to do it around kids. But for me as an adult in an adult world, where's the boundary for me? It's pretty far out there, right? Well, you find it. That's the part of the exploring you do as an artist. And do you want to see where I stopped and went, yeah, that's a little too far, because that's what I found in the archives. So this is how far we're going back. So
was this pre-kid
this is
or
way
post-kid?
pre-kid. This is 2005. YouTube was just launching.
Okay.
I'm still working on Pugs and Kelly. I still live in Dallas. I hadn't gone to Oklahoma yet. And I had a chance to just come up with my own show and be as vulgar and foul as possible. And just to let you know, I had this all figured out in my head. Like we had like little
Why?
Huh?
Why? Why did you think that was the content? Vulgar, foul? What was it? Was it just because you were young and immature, or because that seems? I always get angry with people like, used to talk about, well, I'm going to satellite radio, man. I could swear. We could swear on the. Why? Why do you need to swear? I mean, every once in a while, I could see why you'd need to swear. But what was your attraction to doing vulgar? And this is your own description: vulgar, offensive content. Why did you feel you needed to do that?
The reason why you need to do that as an artist,
you're very funny. You were very funny in regular radio. I mean, I wouldn't know why you wouldn't. Seriously, why wouldn't you just keep working out those chops?
Oh, I was happy to do that. But also, like, does George Carlin get to where he's at by not working out those chops? How do you come up with his 7-word bit if you're not allowed to explore that space? And it's primarily because I hadn't been allowed to explore that space. And I found that really stifling, because as soon as I walked out of a radio station, me and my friends talked different. We said shit and we said fuck and we talked about sex, and it just seems so much more authentic. And, I'm not so foul now, but if you want to relate to a man who is 25 years old and single and living in Dallas and, just being his best self, there's going to be some cuss words involved.
Sure.
Hey, E.
I would argue as well, James, that if you're quick to the draw, you're slower to the draw when you're on radio. Because like you're sitting there and you want to say something, but then you go, wait a minute, I'm on radio, and you got to put it through the 7-word filter before it can fly out of your mouth, just boom. And so I think for me, the sexy part of not being on radio and being on a different format was wow, I can just think and say, and I don't have to worry about any repercussion where there would be almost this little bit of a delay before it would come out of my mouth, even though I thought it was funny and like I should say it. I was like, oh, can I say it? You know, as quickly as that happens. And so I don't know. That would be my answer, Pugs. Why I would want to be able to cuss, because I think cuss comes out, and if you're got to slow it down for a cuss, you might
I never felt
be
limited
quick.
in my ability or my ability to express myself. Because
Well, I've always thought of my radio work versus my non-radio work as listening to the clean version of Dr. Dre's The Chronic. Like, it's still the same songs, but it sounds so weak, dude. Without the cuss word, it's like,
what do you got? I didn't mean to take us down this rabbit hole. What do you got? You just gave us a big ramp up. You're gonna obviously dazzle us with something from the past.
no. Let me look.
He's begging out his grandpa. Why you got to
All right,
cuss?
so you are not going to be impressed with this. This was something I was not impressed with. This was a song I had made to be the James Show theme song for a YouTube version of what I envisioned a video version of the James Show to be in 2005, mind you. Okay, so just give me some goddamn slack. I think I'm 27 at this point. I'm single, whatever. And I made this, and I thought, oh, nope, that's too far. All right. So this was the original James Show theme song that I rejected for myself.
Here we go. Your mom ain't shit, your dad ain't shit, your kids ain't shit, your dog ain't shit, your house ain't shit, your car ain't shit, but it's the James Show and it's the shit. Bitches ain't shit, haters ain't shit, midgets ain't shit, my boss ain't shit, healthcare ain't shit, crack ain't shit, the proliferation of nuclear weapons ain't shit. It's the James Show and it's the shit. You can't be the shit cause it's the shit. If you're looking for some shit that is the shit, just watch the James Show cause it's the shit. It's the James Show and it's the shit. You can't be the shit cause it's the shit. If you're looking for some shit that is the shit, just watch the James Show cause it's the shit. Shit, 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 shit. It's the James Show and it's the shit. You can't be the shit cause it's the shit. If you're looking for some shit that is the shit, just watch the James Show cause it's the shit. It's the James Show and it's the shit. You can't be the shit cause it's the shit. If you're looking for some shit that is the shit, just watch the James Show cause it's the shit.
Why'd you use that S word?
Well, thank you for clapping for that. I thought you'd hate it.
Poop.
No, I don't hate it. I love your stuff. It's just a little repetitive, and the other problem is I couldn't hear it really well. It was muddy, and it just sounded like. But you were going really fast, and I heard shit every half a second. So I guess that's the point. It was good. Yeah, I like all your stuff.
Okay.
See, and I jumped on Pugs'
What do
bandwagon
you mean?
now. With that, I don't think you had to use the word shit. I think you could, hey, Jones,
Well, I
it's the
think
poop.
that's.
And you
No,
could
I
have
like
got
shit.
away
I
with
like all
it.
shit. I get the reason you shit because it was like, you're trying to be a little bit edgy, and you ain't shit. This ain't shit. I get it. I get it. The joke is that it's repetitive.
ain't poop.
It's not repetitive because you didn't have other interesting things to say. It's repetitive because that's what makes it funny. That it's too much shit.
Yeah, it's not funny until like the 48 skit. Because at first you're like, this is saying shit a lot. I was like, okay, he's saying shit a lot. Oh, it's hilarious. But see, when I wrote this song and I recorded this song, I did it all in one day, and I was not sober, and so I was just cracking up the whole time I was doing it. I had to like stop like halfway through my takes because like blooper reels and just bang my head on the microphone because I kept laughing, recording this right. So when I went to bed, I thought I had just recorded the funniest fucking song in the world, and I woke up the next day and I wouldn't listen to it, and I was like, oh, I was a little drunk.
I've done that. I've done that where you write something you think is absolutely genius because you're like completely fucked up and you've been out at the bars and you sit down at the computer at 4 a.m. and you're like, I'm inspired. And then, you wake up and you look at it and you're like, holy shit, am I a talentless hack? Yeah, I've been there. I've been there.
Am I a talentless hack?
My God. All right. Very good. I like the James So song. Hey, guys, can I have the floor for a minute?
Go ahead.
All right. All right. Welcome back for day 2 of America's favorite new game show, Whose is Bigger? You guys want to play Whose is Bigger again? I thought maybe we could play Whose is Bigger again.
Hey, I already put the caption up. I'm with you, bro. Let's go.
Oh, okay. All right.
I didn't write it. Self-Pugs.
Oh, I like it. I see it there. Whose is Bigger is a game where we talk about people who are all in the same competitive field and they've all accomplished great things. Well, last night, what did we do? Whose is Bigger? What was last night's topic? Whose is Bigger?
Record sales.
That's
Between
right.
random people and country people. For the
Yeah.
most part.
So today I thought we could do Whose is Bigger Box Office Edition. This is where I will give you a number of movie stars, and you will tell me this is their gross global box office.
Dude, you know what I'm liking about this? That you just flexed it out to go beyond music. Is we could do this with a ton of stuff. I would like to know
This
who
is
is
last
bigger.
night. You can do it with everything.
I would like to know who is bigger, like in countries. Like, what's bigger, Germany or Spain?
Exactly. Who's bigger? Spain. Exactly. Well, today we're going to do box office. I'm going to give you 2 celebrities, 2 big movie stars. They're all big movie stars. I will give them to you, and you will tell me who you believe has filled more seats globally.
Are you going to start with the Ace of Spades?
What's the Ace of Spades?
Or the #1 box office draw of all time, which I think is Samuel Jackson. And that's not an ethnic slur. I'm just saying Ace of Spades like a trump card.
You know, let me just say, we'll give that away. We'll give that away, Samuel L. Jackson. That's
I thought that was common knowledge, right?
No, there's actually 2. There are 2 people who I looked at 3 different lists. 2 of the lists had Samuel L. Jackson as #1 overall. The biggest, he sold more tickets to more films than anyone else, thanks in large part to the fact that he's been in every Avenger movie.
Well, in Star Wars.
And Star Wars. That's
Yeah,
right.
he's
He's been in every.
So
So
just alone.
Wait a second. Whoa. That counts? Like if they're a
Yes.
secondary
no,
or
if you
third
are an
actor?
ensemble star, absolutely. If you are
You're
like who's
credited.
if you're watching the Avengers, who's the bigger star, Iron Man or Captain America? No, they're both the leads. They're both. That's an ensemble star. Yeah, it counts. I know it shouldn't, but it does. And it's crazy. And
And he's a secondary character in Star Wars, but he still gets $4 billion worth of credit.
he's Mace Windu, right? That's it.
Oh,
He's,
yeah.
Isn't it? He's just one of the Jedi Knights, one of the Jedi elders. Okay. Anyway.
He almost stopped Palpatine when he turned Anakin too.
All right, we're gonna play Whose is Bigger. That's right. Samuel L. Jackson is #1 on 2 of the lists that I found. But there is another person who is #1, and this person is #2 on a number of lists. So I don't know. It's between Samuel L. Jackson and this other person. I won't tell you the name of the other person because we'll save that. I will include this person in one of these, and I'll be like, no, this person is ridiculously big, and you didn't even think it. All right. So let's start out here. Let me ask you, since we're talking about the Avengers, let's start out with some Avengers people, okay? Contestants, whose is bigger, Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man, or Chris Evans, Captain America? Whose is bigger, box office? Whose movies have been bigger? Who has put more butts in seats? Who has sold more tickets? Is it Robert Downey Jr.?
Man, like, is this adjusted for inflation? Because Robert Downey Jr. has 20 years of career before Chris Evans showed up on my radar.
Yeah, but Robert Downey Jr.'s movies weren't big blockbusters. He did
Like
small
Less
films.
Than Zero, and yeah.
He did Chaplin. Chaplin 1.
I'm going Chris Evans.
Chris Evans.
Yeah.
He says Chris Evans, Captain America, has bigger box office than Robert Downey Jr. Oh, I'm so sorry. No,
Hey, let us on.
Robert Downey Jr. has $5,400,000,000 in global box office, whereas Chris Evans has just $4,089,000,000 in box office. All right.
Wow. God damn.
right, here's a fun one just to show you. I just want to give you the numbers so that we can see the difference in numbers between these people. So here's a fun one. You'll probably get it. It's fairly easy. Gentlemen, who's bigger, Zoe Saldana or Tom Cruise? Zoe Saldana or Tom Cruise?
My visceral reaction would be Tom Cruise, but you wouldn't be bringing it up if it wasn't kind of funky, would you? So I'm still going to go Tom Cruise and just risk getting it wrong.
Tom Cruise. Who's bigger? Whose is bigger? Zoe Saldana or Tom Cruise?
I mean, I think the obvious to choose would be Tom Cruise. That's why I'm going
You're
Zoe.
going Zoe Saldana. He would be right.
Wow.
Zoe Saldana, fun fact, is in all three of the 3 biggest films ever made. She is the star of Avatar. She is the star of Avatar Way of Water. And she is also in Avengers Endgame because she's one of the Guardians of the Galaxy. So there you have it. Zoe Saldana is much bigger than Tom Cruise. Actually, not much. She's at 5 billion global. Tom is at 4.6 billion global.
Wow. I would have guessed Tom Cruise bigger because what you mean Robert Downey Jr. beats Tom Cruise?
Robert Downey Jr. does beat Tom Cruise. Robert Downey Jr. on this list comes in at number 2 all time to Sam Jackson. All right, gentlemen, moving on.
Wow. Well, that's a surprise right there.
We're playing who's bigger, Dwayne Johnson or Johnny Depp? Who's bigger, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson or Johnny Depp?
So what's bigger, Pirates of the Caribbean or Fast and Furious? Pirates of the Caribbean, Johnny Depp.
Look at it. That is exactly the way to look at it. Yeah.
No, not really though, because then he got into Disney movies.
Gentlemen, I'm going to need an answer. Johnny Depp or Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson?
I'm going Johnny Depp.
Yeah, I know. He has an answer.
I'm going The
He
Rock.
is going The Rock. The winner is Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp has 3.68 billion. Dwayne Johnson, 3.63 billion. I think Dwayne Johnson's going to overtake him, but, there we go. All right, gentlemen, let's go down the list a little bit. Let's give some household names. What do you say?
So we're tied at
I don't
this
know
point.
is somebody counting. I don't know. Gentlemen, whose is bigger? Steve Carell or Jim Carrey? Steve Carell or Jim Carrey? Whose is bigger? Talking global box office. Whose is bigger, Steve Carell or Jim Carrey?
Got to be Jim Carrey because of the Christmas movie.
Jim Carrey, the Grinch. It's a
Scrooge.
yearly thing, you're right, but
A Christmas movie?
but it was only released in theaters once. This is about butts in theater seats. This is not about how many times you watched it on, Netflix. Gonna need an answer, gentlemen. Who's bigger? Jim Carrey or Steve Carell? Yeah, but James.
I'm going to go Steve Carell based on all the animated voice crap he's done, like Minions and crap, because he was Gru. I have kids, so that's been my experience with this dude for the last 10 years.
Steve Carell is correct. Steve Carell has 3.9 billion in box office globally.
What?
Yeah, 3.9.
That is way more than I expected.
Jim Carrey has only 2.9 billion in box office globally. That's a big surprise.
James leads.
All right, let's do this one. Gentlemen, whose is bigger? Scarlett Johansson or Tom Hanks? Scarlett Johansson or Tom Hanks? We're playing whose is bigger? Box off, total global box office.
I'll go first. It seems to be the goddamn Marvel movies are the touch of gold here, so I'm going to go Scarlett Johansson, even though that's a travesty in the talent lineup. Tom Hanks, one of the best actors of a generation.
Scarlett Johansson is the finest female actress of her generation. But go ahead.
Making some of the best movies of a generation between Forrest Gump and all that crap. I don't know. I'm still saying Scarlett just because the Avengers, just because of Marvel.
Yeah, Jojo freaking Rabbit. She is a gem of an actress. E, do you agree or disagree? Scarlett Johansson is bigger than Tom Hanks.
I believe that the Hankster.
And
takes
you
this
would be
one.
wrong. James, Scarlett Johansson is the secret contestant I mentioned at the top. Scarlett Johansson is number 2 to Samuel L. Jackson on a number of lists. On this particular list, she is number 3, barely behind Robert Downey Jr. Scarlett Johansson has every Avenger movie. And then what else has she done? I can't explain it. What other movies has she done that have been so big?
Well, Scarlett Johansson has run the gamut because she did like the old Fantastic Four. So she's one of the ones that's been in multiple like DC and Marvel. She's one of the few crossover people. And then she gets herself into a bunch of really just good movies like Lost in Translation with Bill Murray. And not that that does like a ton of money, but when you start looking at how many of these little kind of cool movies she's done, I can see that stuff adding up. Not quite like a giant blockbuster, but
I guess. Gentlemen,
by the way, I would like to add Scarlett Johansson is in my top 5 hottest chicks in the world, which means she's on my celebrity exemptions list for me and the wife.
she's one of the greats.
And also I think she really is a deceptively good actress. I don't think she gets as much credit as she deserves because she's so goddamn hot. Like anyone can say Meryl Streep is a great actress, but
no, she's terrific. She brought me to tears in Jojo Rabbit. She is so strong.
one
Okay.
more comment.
Okay.
While there have been DNAs signed, we're not allowed to discuss this. I have heard rumor that she is the actress that may be playing my friend Carol in the Aryan Princess movie that's in development.
I threw it out there and I made it so. Gentlemen, whose is bigger? Let me give you a good one in here. Gentlemen, whose is bigger? Brad Pitt or Leonardo DiCaprio? Gentlemen, global box office, whose is bigger? Brad Pitt or Leonardo DiCaprio?
Based on today, gotta say Leo.
Leo is who he says. Do you agree or disagree, James? Leo DiCaprio or Brad Pitt? Who's bigger?
Whoa, that is so tough because Titanic is huge, and just that alone might be too much for. Because I'm trying to think of what's the biggest Brad Pitt movie, and there's some out there. There's like a Fight Club or something, but
He doesn't have
blockbuster hits. Let me go Leonardo DiCaprio too.
Leo DiCaprio is bigger, 2.6 billion to Brad Pitt's Leo DiCaprio 2.64 to Brad Pitt's 2.62. So close.
So they're even.
But okay. Who's bigger? Let me give you a totally random one. Oh, this is a good one. Gentlemen, who's bigger? Julia Roberts or Jack Black?
Jack Black.
Julia Roberts
Julia.
or Jack Black? E says Julia. I'm sorry, James is right. It is Jack Black at 2.5 billion to Julia Roberts 2.4 billion.
Again, E, you got to think about all the voiceover acting crap he's done with like Kung Fu Panda, and I think he was in Madagascar and some of these other kid shows, bro.
All right, here's a tough one for you. Here's a tough one because if you really think about this, this could be a tough one. Are you ready? Gentlemen, who's bigger? Daniel Radcliffe,
Yes.
right? Or Liam Neeson?
Daniel Radcliffe.
Ooh, are you taking into the Not Without My Daughter? All of those movies and the fact that he's cranked out 1,000 movies since 1985. This is a good one. And I'm telling you because I'm looking at the numbers.
Yeah, so it's got to be
Going
close
through.
because Liam Neeson was in Star Wars.
Yep.
And even though he was really only in one, he still gets credit for all 3, doesn't he?
No, I think just the one that he's in. Just
Because
the one.
his
Well, it's
face
a Star
shows
Wars.
up in Star Trek, the 3rd episode, where they do the flashback and Qui-Gon Jinn shows up.
Who's bigger, Liam Neeson
And then
or Daniel Radcliffe?
I'm still going to go Daniel Radcliffe.
Daniel Radcliffe. E, who's bigger?
Liam.
You're going with Liam Neeson. No, I'm sorry. It is actually Harry Potter himself. Daniel Radcliffe is bigger than Liam Neeson.
I like the fact that I've got one right.
Oh, here's one. Let's pit some friends against each other. What do you say?
Ben Affleck or Matt Damon?
Gentlemen, who's just bigger? Ben Affleck or Matt Damon?
I would go Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. You both say Matt Damon is bigger than Ben
I do.
Affleck? Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, a lot bigger. They're like not even close. Matt Damon is number 19 at 3.2. Ben Affleck is all the way down the list at number 54 at $2.4 billion.
You know, Matt Damon is someone that I really liked when he first came out in like Good Will Hunting, and then he had like little bit parts in cool shows like Chasing Amy and whatnot. And then he kind of grated on my nerves for a while, and I like him again. And I don't have an explanation for that other than the fact that he's still the same guy in almost every movie, which makes me think that if I met him in real life, he would probably be that guy, and I think I would like him. Like, I think we would be friends. He seems like someone we would hang out with and get along with just fine.
Let me ask you this one, gentlemen. Whose is bigger, John Travolta or Mel Gibson? John Travolta or Mel Gibson? Whose is bigger?
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson.
Passion of the Christ.
Does he get credit for Passion of the Christ? Because he
Of
would.
course.
Okay, then yeah, I'll go with Mel Gibson too.
Mel Gibson is the winner. Mel Gibson at $2.3 billion to John Travolta's $2.27. Travolta is right next to Mel Gibson. All right, let's finish up with some women. Let me see if I can find some nice couple of ladies here that we can do. All right, how about this? Gentlemen, whose is bigger, Elizabeth Olsen or Meryl Streep? Elizabeth Olsen or Meryl Streep?
See, now I like this because this is testing the power of the Marvel series against a legit 40-year career. So, Elizabeth Olsen.
Well, how about you, E? Do you agree? Elizabeth Olsen or the grande dame of the American cinema, Meryl Streep?
I would just have to believe it's Meryl Streep.
And you would be wrong. Elizabeth Olsen is the the biggest box office star of all time, 30th biggest of all time. She is at $2.9 billion. Meryl Streep is number 85 at 1.7. So there you have it. A girl who's been doing movies for 5 years has like tripled the performance of the world's greatest female actor ever. That's going to do it, folks. Thank you for joining us on this edition of Hey, Whose is Bigger? Join us every night as we venture into the world of comparisons and ask the question, whose is bigger? Good night, everybody. Everybody play. Come on. Make this look good. There you go.
That's how we do that?
That's how we do it from now on. Yeah, exactly. If we wave good night, come on. It's got to look good. Everything. That's it. I got one more show.
Hey, chat room. I enjoy reading the comments. A lot of times I read them after the show. It's kind of fun. Yeah. I go through.
I don't spend near enough time in the chat room. I should.
This was my comment of the day, by the way. Who wrote that? Sam the Failman?
That is good. That is good. Reportedly, the accident on the submarine occurred when the captain rage quit and threw the controller and it struck the window. That's
game.
I mean, like, if my kid was the captain, that could be an outcome.
It's funny because we don't care. Stop pretending like you care about these people you've never heard of. Do you know how many kids were slaughtered in Africa in the last hour? You don't give a shit about
half of them. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just stop acting like you're, oh, it's not funny to make. A bunch of stupid rich people died doing stupid rich people stuff. Let's move on.
Yeah, I mean,
it's true.
No one's going to have a new story when I die at all.
Does this put a buzzkill on the go to space thing?
No, not at all.
Oh, am I going to space thing? No, I want to go to space. That's different. I don't want to go into the water. That's stupid. Space? I'd die going to space. Anybody can get in a submarine. Going to space is a little different.
We've already had kids, so we're expendable. We can die now.
But like the immediate catastrophic injury, like that could possibly not happen in space, right?
Oh, far worse could happen in space. Well, look, first of all, you think a decompression underwater is bad. Yeah, a decompression in space is like just as bad, man. It's gonna, the ships are pressurized, right? Like, you got to wear a special suit when you go out there because the vacuum of space, man, that is a hostile bitch.
Well, Dave survived it when Hal wouldn't open the pod bay doors. He went to the airlock.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think that's
and
what
that was a good documentary. Did you ever see that one?
Yeah, like why aren't we worried about things coming up from the deep, but we're worried about things coming up from space?
Godzilla's not a documentary.
Yeah, and because it's never happened, because nothing has ever come up from the deep. You know what used to come up from the deep? Volcanoes, and one of them hasn't happened in like 1,000 years. So I think we're safe. I think we're good. I think we're this far. I think we know. That's the thing. I think we understand what's going on. You know what? No, maybe we don't understand what's going on way down there. So let's not poke around. We don't need to go exploring the Mariana Trench. We don't need to know what's down there. You know what's down there? Diseases and shit that no human has ever come in contact with. So that when we go down there and start poking it around.
And if we figured out, are we like really over top of China? Like if we dug, are we going to hit China?
No,
like where are we going to hit?
In fact, we are not.
There's a website that shows you if you dig a hole straight down from where you're at now, well, you'll pop out. And almost all of America is in the Indian Ocean.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like if my mom and dad were here right now, I'd tell them you were wrong.
That whole
I'm not going to China.
That dig a hold of China bullshit. That was just a big lie. Another big lie.
You could slant drill to China.
Probably.
It wouldn't be a hole straight down though. You would have to slant drill to China.
Like, do they let you know like where you're going through? Like, do you get to see the hole? Like, what are you cutting out?
Yes, you get to see the hole.
Yes, and there's like little rest stops along the way that they've installed, and I think there's a hotel down there. There's probably a Middle Earth Four Seasons. I hear is really nice.
The dude that escaped from the prison, he's got like a little underground bike ride there in Mexico. What was his, the
Chapo?
El Chapo? Yeah, El Chapo's living down there.
He dug to China. That's cool. That works.
Mm-hmm.
All right, bye. Get out of here, both of you. There they are. They're the Radio Misfits. I'm Pugs. He's James Parker. E also joins us. We do this show every Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. here on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. Love y'all. See you tomorrow for my noon show. I do headlines, hot topics, and all that stuff every day at noon right here on the Radio Misfits podcast platform and live streaming network. Bye.